Coming up on CTV Sports, CSU volleyball is climbing in the rankings. See what they did to breach the top 10. And football got a much-needed win against an FCS opponent Saturday. Who stood out for the Rams as they head into their bye week?
Plus, breaking news about a former CSU basketball player who transferred. Find out why he might not be playing at all this year. All this and more coming up on CTV Sports.
You're watching CTV Sports!
Good evening and thanks for watching CTV Sports. I'm Travis Green.
And I'm Patrick Enslow. Party like it's 2004. CSU volleyball climbs 6 spots in the AVCA Coaches Bowl to 8th, making for the best ranking since November of 2004. It all started last Friday when the Rams headed out to the Las Cruces, New Mexico to upset number 9 BYU in the UTEP New Mexico State Invitational. After dropping the first set to the Cougars, the Rams roared back to beat BYU in the next 3 sets to win 3-1. This comeback was led by the duo of Kelsey Snyder and Jamie Colazzi. Snyder had 13 kills while Colazzi added 16 digs. This victory set the tone for the rest of the weekend as CSU busted out the brooms to sweep the New Mexico State and UTEP. These individual performances didn't go unnoticed though. Kelsey Snyder was named Mountain West Player of the Week. She led the Rams to their 4-0 week, averaging 3.4 kills per set. Trav, what'd you see out of Kelsey this weekend?
Oh, I've seen what I've seen all season from Kelsey Snyder, leading the team in kills per set, and she's just been a leader out there. The way that she's been playing has been super impressive, and I looked for her to get more honorable mentions this season. More awards are going to come for the way she's been playing if she keeps it up.
Oh, yeah, she had a great third set against BYU, stepping up as that senior leader. She had 5 kills in that third set, so, I mean, that was great to see. And then she had a great UTEP game, scoring 3 of their last 4 points. So, I mean, she's just saying, give me the ball, and I'll take us home.
It's been pretty clear from this team right now. The go-to player is Kelsey Snyder. You just got to set it up to her, and she's going to slam it down. That's what it seems like. And we got to talk about Jamie Colazzi. Holy cow, she's been doing great. Getting those digs, and that's huge for a volleyball team. If you have a player that can stop a offense that's going and get those digs to create offense for the Rams.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, this team looks like they all just know their role. Deidre Foss is getting assists, Colazzi's getting digs, and Snyder's getting kills. And I think that's what it takes. A team that's not really senior-laden, but everyone knows their role, and they know how to play. And they're playing in big games early, which I think this will help them down the stretch.
Absolutely. It's been really fun to watch. It's the way this team's molded. Deidre Foss, one of the better setters in the nation, I would say. And she's this is her 4th year lettering for CSU volleyball. She's been there and done that, and I think she's one of those players that CSU can turn to. If things go wrong, she can make something happen and lead this team to more victories.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, Tom Hilbert talked about it after the game. He said she knows she's one of the best setters in the nation, and she just went out there and got it. And I mean, as you can see with those 39 assists, so that's good to see that those players know they're good and they're going out and they're performing and they're doing what they should. And we can't forget about the freshmen either.
Absolutely. I was just about to touch on that. Those freshmen have been playing out of their minds. Jasmine Hanna, 3rd on the team in points. If I asked anybody before the season, who do you think is going to be 3rd on the team in points at this point in the season, nobody would name a freshman. It wouldn't happen because this team has a lot of experience and talented players, but they have shown up this year. These 3 freshmen on the roster have shown up and played great.
Yeah, she's almost just like a junior Kelsey Snyder out there. I mean, she just almost mimics everything Kelsey Snyder does. Maybe doesn't stuff the stat sheet as much, but, I mean, she's just as effective out there. And it's great to see out of a freshman playing in big games early in the season.
And just a freshman. It's going to be fun to watch how much better she gets as the years go on. And we got to look at the aspect of these two. We have these 2 players that can get kills every game out there. And when you look at the top 10 teams over the past years, they have those players that can get those kills, that can slam the ball down and be an aggressive force. And CSU has that now with the addition of Jasmine Hanna as this freshman year. It's been really fun to watch her and Kelsey Snyder.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah. The Rams seem to build off their own success so far this season. The football team also found itself a W when taking on FCS opponent UC Davis. After getting slammed in the Mountain West opener last weekend against Boise, CSU came out with a vengeance against little old UC Davis. Garrett Grayson threw for more than 400 yards for the 2nd consecutive game as the Rams passed for a team record 452 yards. The defense looked much better this week, albeit against a significantly worse offense. But this is exactly the kind of win CSU needed headed into its bye week.
You know, really it's what we want to do. We wanted to go out and dominate an opponent. I felt we did for the most part, and this will be a good film for us to learn from.
Now, Patrick, what was the most impressive part of this victory for you to see from CSU?
It'd have to be Garrett Grayson. I mean, after the CU game, we were talking the run game, and now it's all about the pass game. He's almost got 1,000 yards, and we're not even to the 4th game of the season. As you can see, 22 of 31 passing, 425 yards, 4 TDs last game against UC Davis.
Incredible.
I mean, he's putting up some big stats.
Incredible. And I know there's a lot of question about the identity of this team. And like you said, the CU team against CSU ran the ball with a lot of power and got a lot of yards from that. And then against Boise, we were throwing the ball around because we had to. But now we see a little bit of an identity showing up of a team that's going to throw the ball, is willing to throw the football, and then if they need to run, they'll run it here and there to keep a nice balance of offense.
Yeah, and I mean, we can't forget about Rashard Hollywood Higgins either.
No, gotta talk about him.
147 yards. You can really see that chemistry between him and Grayson building, because I mean, it was his freshman year last year, so they're really building on top of that, and they're going to be fun to watch down the stretch, because I mean, as I said before, it's early in the season.
The chemistry that's been built between those two over the past 2 seasons, you can see it coming out these last couple games. I see by the end of this season, those two are going to be putting up big numbers by the end of the season. And we got to talk about Joe Hansley also. Joe Hansley is that guy, a sneaky guy. You might not expect him to have huge games, but he's put up some solid games for CSU this year.
Yeah, because Hollywood, he lives up to that name, and he's kind of big, bright
Sure
star.
does.
And then Joe Hansley, he kind of sneaks right in there,
Yep.
and he's just another great weapon for Garrett Grayson. And I think between Hansley and Higgins, I think it's going to be a big year. And I think it'll be competitive to see who has the better year, the running backs or the wide receivers. But, I mean, that's a good problem to have.
It is. It's a great problem to have. Jason Oden, a running back we haven't seen much from this season, stepped up this game. He had more carries in this one and really showed that he can be that running back. So now it seems like the Rams have a fabulous problem of having 3 running backs that can carry the load.
Yeah, and another problem to have was a great special teams play last game as well. CSU's kicker wasn't the only one missing field goals, though. Down early to UC Davis, had settled for 3, but Trent Matthews had other plans. Take a look as he, that was the field goal.
That's CSU field goal there.
Yep, but we have Trent Matthews had a great field goal block as well, which was great to see. Special teams stepping up, and when they go to Boston College for their next game, they're going to need big play out of special teams, because if you can get a big play out of special teams, like a block field goal, like
Here's
we
the
see
block
here.
field goal that we're seeing here. That's the type of things that changes the momentum. Absolutely, and that happened in the first quarter. And from there on, CSU took off in this UC Davis game. Patrick, we got to look forward to Boston College now. Have a bye week coming up. After that bye week, it's great timing to play a big Boston College game. Just came off the number 9 victory over USC. How do you think CSU fares in this one?
We're going to need a big game out of Garrett Grayson, and we're also going to need a big game out of our defense, because, I mean, that BC offense looked great against USC. And, I mean, USC, as you said, 9 in the nation, so they're not playing around. And BC is an interesting team, because we watched them play Pitt. They kind of got dominated that first game and then bounced back. So it'll be interesting to see how CSU plays. But Garrett Grayson will need a career game out of him and live up to that hype, some preseason awards. If he can live up to that hype and he can play how he's been, and I think they'll be good. And they'll also need the secondary to step up.
Absolutely. I was just about to say the defense is the group I'm looking to step up and get the Rams a good shot to get some points in this game. We've seen this offense can get the points. Garrett Grayson can get points for this offense, and the running game will work if our offensive line gets the job done. The question is the defense, the secondary. We're really going to have to play good bump and run coverage on these talented Boston College receivers.
Yeah, and you kind of saw it early. 21 points is still a decent amount of points for UC Davis. So, I mean, that secondary is really going to need them lock them down, and they're going to need a big game as well. And I think it'll be a tough battle, and I'm excited to see how that pans out.
This is a game that could cement CSU's future for this season. If they get this big win, could potentially go undefeated the rest of the season. It's an easier schedule after that. Boise's out of the way, got the loss there, but if you get the win against this Boston College who knows what the limit is for the CSU football team.
Yeah, and this will be a great resume builder for CSU because Boise State would have been 2, but big loss there. So if they can get this one in BC, and as you said, Utah State's probably their toughest opponent down the stretch. But it'll be exciting to see. And as I said before, only 4 games in the season, so it only go up from here.
And hopefully for the Rams, this bye week will lead to good planning, and hopefully they'll be ready for this Boston College team. But it's time for a quick break now, but when we come back, we have some almost unbelievable news about CSU soccer.
And last week was a pretty awful week for sports and their athletes. Will all the bad news about players tarnish the reputation of sports as a whole? We'll give you our take up next.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Welcome back to CTV Sports. On Sunday, the CSU soccer team played in a home game against College of Charleston. The game came down to extra time as no team could get anything in the net during regulation. In the 94th minute, Amy Eckert scored her second goal of the season, which also gave the Rams their second win of the year. CSU now stands at 2-4 on the season and will be heading up north to take part in the Montana Invitational.
And some big news about a former CSU basketball player, John Octius. The Rams starting point guard from last season transferred this summer to UCLA and was reportedly denied admission to the university. Octius, who still has 1 year of eligibility left, graduated from CSU before deciding to transfer to the perennial powerhouse UCLA Bruins. So what does this mean for Octius?
Clearly the foreseeable future, it looks like Octius won't be suiting up for the UCLA Bruins anytime soon. It appears that he won't be able to play for them this season, so I'm assuming Octius is going to have to find another team, maybe possibly CSU. I'm not sure how the whole process of transferring from a school and maybe coming back works out, but I was really surprised to see Octius leave. It seemed like CSU had a team set up that could win the Mountain West this season, especially with Jonathan Octius on that roster, and it's going to be interesting to see how the whole situation plays out for Octius.
Yeah, and I mean, I was just as surprised as you. So, I mean, best of luck to him down the road.
Yeah. And last week was a pretty depressing week for those of us who look up to professional athletes. We had the Ray Rice situation. Roger Goodell looks like he might be out. What do you think of this whole bad week? There's so many names to throw out there. What are your thoughts on this whole situation?
I mean, it's just a rough week for football. And I mean, this wasn't even stuff on the field. They've had their fair share of issues on the field with hits and concussions and stuff like that. But off the field, I mean, that's stuff you can take care of, or it's not as up in the air. And I think Roger Goodell, he just hasn't looked good with those suspensions and kind of going back on his word. And that just doesn't look good. So I don't know what the future holds for Roger Goodell, but hopefully they can figure all these issues out and there's not any more for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's show. Tune in. Hopefully this week in sports is better than last.
And hopefully next week's show is better than this.
The football team has a bye week, but volleyball is looking to keep climbing in the rankings as they take on number 18 Arizona State.
Be sure to check out all of our analysis next Monday at 8.
And until then, check out our website at collegian.com for all of the latest in CSU sports. Have a great week.